This deflated ball can give you one of four safe exercises to help you with your previously dislocated shoulder. Let's find out how. So, whenever we talk about dislocated shoulders, we talk about how much it has interfered with the rest of our body. This deflated ball gives you the perfect neck exercise to help you relax through there. So, what you're going to do first with this guy, you are going to lay on your back. You're going to place it underneath your head. And so it's just going to kind of cup your head as you are laying on your back. This honestly is just like love for your head and neck. It's fantastic for it. And what you do then after you lay your head on it is you just turn your head side to side. Nice and easy, letting gravity hold you and letting the ball, as it's deflated, it kind of moves through and cups your head side to side. Why this is important is the fact that your nerves from your neck go in and tell your muscles in your shoulders what to do. When we have previously dislocated our shoulder, as you probably know, you want to tuck your shoulder up tight and hold it so close to you. Well, this, as you can see, it makes this part of your neck, it makes everything so tight. You probably feel that right now too, that you're just like everything is on. Well, this helps to turn everything off. This is one of those four exercises that will help you with relaxing things before it goes on. Yes, it's not specifically a shoulder exercise, but those nerves really matter for what goes on actually in your shoulder. As your neck is so tight, the nerves don't get kind of their space to move and space to be, and so they get a little bit more inflamed. This makes the muscles in your shoulders not get the messages that they were supposed to be given from your brain to your muscles of when to turn on, when to turn off, and how much to turn on, and timing wise of when to exactly turn off versus on. It basically retrains and helps all of the system and all the muscles that you want to work for you to start working for you again. Number two in this is also not a shoulder specific exercise. It is an upper back rotation. And so what you're going to do, you're going to see seated on like the edge of a chair, a little bit of space where you can rotate and move. And you're going to reach down and through to the other side, come back up, reach down and through. It'll make your low back flex. It'll make your upper back rotate. You're going to have your hands crossed here so you feel support in your shoulder and support in that upper trunk area. And as you do this movement, think about that shoulder kind of going to your opposite hip, coming back up and shoulders the opposite hip as you're rotating and kind of flexing downward. This upper back rotation is important for your shoulder because one, as you're moving your shoulder up and down, as you're gliding it and having it open and close and just generally move, our rib cage and our thoracic spine matter to us because it allows movement of our shoulder blade. Our shoulder blade rests on our rib cage. If our rib cage doesn't move as well as it needs to because we've been stiff and tight, just like we talked about for the neck, then we're not going to get that shoulder blade to move for us for our actual shoulder joint. And that matters so much for the actual componentries of our shoulder that you may have torn and may have not torn. When it comes to your dislocated shoulder, we want to make sure that we're supporting it with the rotator cuff muscles that live on your actual shoulder blade and also the shoulder blade muscles that go from your shoulder blade to your spine or to your ribs. And these matter because it's the stability of your shoulder. Anytime when you hurt something, you want to stabilize it and give it the most support possible. These are the shoulder blade muscles, these are the rib cage, this is your thoracic spine. This brings us into our next exercise. The next exercise is just again seated at the edge of a chair, and you're just going to draw your shoulders outward, kind of opening your chest. Your arms come outward as well, or your hands come outward as well, but it's not that they're trying to go as far out as they possibly can go. The key is that you're just opening your chest with this and your hands kind of drift outwards with that. It will be a little bit of that guy, of those guys, your hands going out to the side as well. Now, this gives you those shoulder blade muscles actually working, as you can probably see from this angle and my actual muscles activating back through here as I move my arms out. And again, you should see that shoulder opening, not just my arm moving here. It's that movement of that shoulder blade that we're really wanting to get. What this does is that it helps us with our actual anatomy of our shoulder because we potentially have damaged some other things inside of it. One of the biggest things that we can think about whenever we're wanting to strengthen our shoulder, one of the biggest things that we can think about when we're wanting to strengthen our shoulder to prevent future dislocations, because that's what's going to equal you either needing surgery or not, is if you can keep your shoulder from dislocating again and or the amount of things that you've damaged. Now, when we talk about what you've damaged, a lot of times we have damaged our labrum. The labrum is basically what deepens your socket here. So you have your main socket, which is kind of my palm of my hand. It's super shallow and it has a big ball that abuts to it. Well, if you just have those two, then the ball is just going to fall right off because there's nothing that keeps that ball actually in that socket. It's not going to have a big enough lip. It's not going to have enough surface area or something pulling it in if you just think about your bony areas. What the labrum does is it wraps around your socket and it deepens it. It's like a big donut here. And so it creates more of a lip around the actual socket area for your ball to grab a hold of. Still, it's not everything that you need. You also have your rotator cuff that comes over. It's 4 different muscles. It comes around the front side of your shoulder, it comes around the top, and then you have 2 that come from the back side. Well, if you think about it, that's 3 sides of a 4-sided kind of circle. Well, what about our inferior side, the bottom side? We don't have a rotator cuff muscle that crosses over that. That's where our labrum is the biggest factor in helping you to keep your ball in the socket, especially whenever your arm is up in this position here. And so as we think about what have you damaged, do you need surgery, how are these exercises going to help? It's one, can you avoid this position in your day-to-day function? And or do you have other structures and support that are there to help you? Also, another thing that can happen, that labrum tear is our Bankart lesion. That's where your labrum is basically torn on the bottom side here. You can also tear it on the top side here. That doesn't matter quite as much for your stability of your shoulder. It does a little bit, but that bottom tear is what really matters. And then we can have a Hill-Sachs impact kind of fracture. And that's actually on your ball, your humeral head that comes in, and it can basically indent there. And so now whenever your arm is up, you need part of your ball to catch that lip of the socket and of the labrum. And we need that lip to hang on. And so if your Hill-Sachs impact is too much or too dented, then you'll be much more likely to dislocate and have your humeral head fall down right here. And so what we want to do for our exercises is start to gain that stability for our shoulder blade muscles. We want to get our rotator cuff starting to go, which is that kind of external rotation, our pulling it out here that we're doing just slightly. And we want to give us a way of seeing how our shoulder's feeling with some very safe movements in this, because you're typically not going to dislocate here in this downward safe position, but you can get general movement and some muscles starting to work for you. The last exercise in this grouping is going to be a little bit more load on you. And so it may not feel good right now, or you can even do it without any load. We're going to be having a band kind of placed a little bit like just above your head level or right at your head level in the doorway. And you can use a door anchor, which is what I have here. You can see it, how it like laps into the door. I have a link down below that I can give you. And what you're doing here is you're basically pulling the band down. You're again opening your shoulders, but this is getting like a downward pull so you can stop using some of your upper trap muscles here. You can tell them to turn off a little bit. Neurologically, if I'm going to do a bicep curl, my tricep neurologically turns off because I can't bicep curl if my tricep is on trying to straighten my arm. It just doesn't work out very well. And so what happens when you pull down is that you get a downward movement. The muscles, your lats are involved with this. Some of your other shoulder blade muscles are involved with this as you pull down and out, like down and back, to help you engage those muscles and to help you kind of decrease that upper trap pull, which is going to pull in your neck, going to make you tighter. All of those things that we talked about beforehand. This pulling aspect really helps you to engage, helps you feel stable again in your shoulder because it's a very safe position. It's that closing down, it's that tight position of your ball in the socket and those rotator cuff muscles pulling it in and keeping it nice and safe there and making it feel secure. And so it can help you feel good as long as you didn't damage any of your rotator cuff muscles. If you did, then this one may not feel the best for you, or it may not feel the best yet for you. I hope that this was super helpful for you. I hope that you gained in this and that this gets you started off on the right foot. Get in to see a PT and get in to know what you need to be doing next for your actual shoulder. Bye, y'all.